Audiences have seen a rise in movies surrounding the internet and social media as the popularity boost of communicating through the web is at an all-time high. Examples of these movies include the 2010 movie Catfish, an indie movie following the online relationship between Nev and a woman he's never met, and how he believes she may be a fake account. Another example being the Black Mirror episode Nosedive, an episode surrounding how our society would be if we had to rate everyone we met on a 1 to 5 scale using social media. Both examples were received well by critics. However, in this video essay, I'm going to be exploring a movie of the same internet theme, but has been perceived negatively by critics, this movie being Hideo Nakata's Chatroom. In 2010, the drama/thriller film Chatroom was released in the UK, premiering at the 2010 Cannes Film Festival. The original script for Chatroom was written by Enda Walsh. The intentions of it was to be a theatre play. The movie has received mostly negative feedback, with a current 9% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Before exploring these negative reviews in detail, I'm going to break down the narrative structure of Chatroom. Chatroom focuses on the lives of 5 teenagers who meet via an online chat room such as AOL or MSN. The chatroom is moderated by young adult William, a troubled individual who struggles with his home life and therefore spends his days locked up alone in his bedroom, surfing the internet. The group begin to share very intimate secrets with one another, unknowingly feeding William with ways that they can be later manipulated by him. One by one, William uses the individual's secrets to destroy their lives, so that they feel hated by the world around them, growing even more dependent on William. Despite the movie being based on the online chats between a group of teens, the movie rarely shows the characters on their computers. Instead, the film uses the interesting concept of depicting the online chats between the teenagers within a singular room, the connotations of this being how realistic talking through the internet can feel. This also fits with the narrative of the teens feeling so isolated that they replace social interaction with fabricated electronic communication instead. So now that we have a basic understanding of the movie's narrative, what do film critics hate so much about Chatroom? Damon Wise from the Radio Times commented that the plausible chills are offset by the film's clumsy youth movie trimmings, which, through lurid visuals and ripe overacting, drain most of the suspense and interest. Whilst finally, Sukhdev Sandhu from the Daily Telegraph described the film as having pantomimic dialogue, with stagey sets and underwritten characters, which rendered this instantly obsolete. I can see why someone may feel that the dialogue was quite pantomimic, and how the sets were stagey.
Best not to rush these things. Difficult to know who you can trust.
However, we do know the movie's script is actually based on a play, so in my opinion it adds to the movie's aesthetic qualities. The fact that the character's dialogue appears to be pantomimic plays with the theme of faking yourself online, and the sets being so stage-like represent how William was performing and acting to be someone he is not within the movie. Lighting within the film is used in a very creative way. We as the audience see how bright, vibrant and fun the chat rooms look, versus how dull and boring real life actually is for the teens. This suggests that the teenagers prefer their virtual life rather than their real life. The vibrant colours and placement of their excitement. The stark difference in these scenes' colours reveals to the audience when the teens are within the chat room. In an interview with Hideo Nakata, he comments that this technique was used deliberately. Quote, "Our chat room in the film should be very saturated in colour, because the 5 teenagers will be amazed and entertained online, whereas their reality scene should look very gloomy to reflect their frustration and anger to the society and their families." Sound is also used to reveal this to the audience. When the teens are within their rooms, we hear happy and cheerful pop music, like the homage of MySpace playlists.
This is a room.
Whilst in the real world, we do not hear any music. We only hear the natural diegetic sounds that we'd hear in person. The colour correction was a large focus in post-production. The use of the colour green and teal within the movie is quite prominent. In most scenes, the shade of green is dull and murky. The use of green could connote many things, but in Chatroom, these colours have been used to represent the online world being otherworldly. We are not used to seeing rooms and their lighting in shades of green and teal. Therefore, this makes the audience feel odd and out of place. As the murky green used is uninviting, it also creates a sense of discomfort for the audience. The use of odd and unusual colours has been seen before in Hideo Nakata's previous work, Dark Water. Within Dark Water, the extreme pop of bright colours create an eerie and otherworldly atmosphere. As it is something we don't see in the world around us, it breaks reality, naturally putting the audience on edge. Using a desaturated colour palette within movies is used for emotive effect. Take, for example, the scene in Chatroom where we meet Jim for the first time. The desaturated colour palette makes us feel cold and slightly uncomfortable. This is mimicking Jim's thoughts and feelings in this scene, making the audience feel further connected with this character. Some of the camera movements in the movie are not perfectly still. This has been done deliberately to replicate a slight uneasiness within the scenes. It replicates on a much more minor level movies like the Blair Witch Project, where the camera is unstable due to it being a handheld camera. In Chatroom, a more discreet movement with the camera has been used so that the audience still feel the uneasiness that comes with this filmmaking technique, whilst knowing it is not supposed to feel like a handheld camera. There is a lot of symbolism used within the film when representing who the characters are and what they stand for. In this scene, our main protagonist, William, is here witnessing the murder of a young boy via a chat room. The graffiti on the walls is symbolising the angel of death. In criminology, an angel of death is a former criminal who kills someone who is under their care. Within the movie, we see William use pro-suicide rooms, where individuals looking for help enter these rooms to talk to a so-called counsellor. William and a small group of toxic individuals exploit those looking for help and lead them to believe that suicide is their answer. Symbolism has been cleverly used here to show that William's up to no good before this part in the plot is even revealed. The idea of William being the angel of death is also touched on again later in the movie, when William convinces Jim to commit suicide. During the tense scene, we see Jim holding up a gun to himself, struggling to pull the trigger. We also see William on tenterhooks as he waits for Jim's death, who then breaks the visual tension in the movie by kissing Jim, representing the kiss of death, a kiss that symbolises the receiver as being marked for execution. So why did this film fail with critics? I believe it is down to the film's marketing. After looking at the trailer for Chatroom, a heavy emphasis is placed on the scary parts of the film, and Hideo Nakata's name is plastered next to his scariest movies. Therefore, it's no surprise to me that critics felt confused after realising that the movie lacks many frightening scenes at all. If this film was marketed differently, and more true to what the movie genre is, I feel as if it would have done a lot better. It is also worth considering the time that this movie came out, during the same year as The Social Network was released, a movie all about how Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook. It's possible that people felt bewildered when they saw such a negative, dark representation of the internet via Chatroom. Towards the end of the movie, we approach a scene with a weak William. Everyone has foiled him, and finally can see how manipulative he has been all along. William still fights to destroy Jim, however Jim finally has the confidence to be able to fight back. It is in this scene that we finally see William at his most vulnerable. So, the plan has been ruined and the police are chasing William. William runs away and finds himself still on top of a tall stack of crates, right near a train track. Once William realises that he no longer has the power he once had over the teens, he decides to take his own life. Instantly we see the relief on all of the characters' faces, and how William was holding them back from finally feeling free. This is when I discovered William may be a metaphor for depression. Once a mental illness was not able to feed dark thoughts into the teens' heads, it was powerless. To conclude, I believe Chatroom is an absolutely phenomenal movie. It is a movie in which I struggle to find any others quite like it. The unique location choices and excellent colour grading makes the movie visually beautiful. I do agree that there are some scenes in the movie which feel staged or heavily acted, but I strictly feel that this was a creative choice to fit in with the script. My advice to enjoy the film? Don't watch the trailer, and do not expect a typical Hideo Nakata movie. You won't be terrified, and you won't be hiding behind a pillow, but you will be engrossed in the beautiful visual storytelling this film has to offer. It will definitely surprise you.